Thank you all of you for being with us. I'm sure it's going to be a very, very interesting discussion. Let me start with Dr. Manjiri. You're a neurology expert. How do you see the intersection of neurological health and wellness practices prevalent in today's times?
Well, to enforce wellness, one needs the willingness of the brain, and the brain is neurology. So definitely, you may be reading things, you may be hearing things as you would in this forum, but for execution of what you have read and what you have learned and what you have seen or what you have felt to be healthy by various modalities, you need the brain. And the part of the brain which you need is the frontal lobe. The frontal lobe is what differentiates us from monkeys. So it is that part of the brain which makes you judge, have insight, execute, plan, sequence. So again, I say here that wellness is a concept only if absorbed holistically. And essentially, the brain is the executor for all of it.
That's so true. I mean, wellness is totally linked with how you feel, and we all know mental wellness is the most important thing that we all are facing today, and that's the brain. So, Dr. Gagan Chadha, you are the lucky man with all the gorgeous ladies today. So, let me give you an interesting question. What are the biggest struggles or challenges you observe due to social media addiction in relation to orthopedic health? Because today everybody is on social media all the time.
I think the biggest enemy is Google, Chacha.
Yeah, you're
Everybody.
I think the mic has to be...
Hello. I think Google is the biggest enemy of all patients. They go self-research, come up with weird ideas, and then they fall sick. Because Google has not been written by experts. Half the time it is written by people who are half-baked knowledge of the subject. And a patient comes with preconceived ideas that he has researched his own disease. That is one of the major problems which I'm facing today. So they would rather have an MRI first rather than a clinical. They'd rather have an MRI first than have a clinical examination. And then on the MRI, when they read there are a couple of bulges here and there, they become more sick than what they actually are. So this is one of the problems. The second problem is the change of venue of games. The play field used to be the venue of all games. Now it's the laptop and the phone. So lack of activity, lack of muscle strength, sitting for long hours, watching the screen for a very long period of time, they are becoming big challenges for the younger generation.
Yeah, I so agree with you. I think we all are victims to the Google doctor, which we should actually stop consulting. And like you said, again, when we see bulges in the MRI, our brain goes overactive, which is what Dr. Manjiri also emphasized right now. So, okay, Kimberly is still not here. So I'm going to move to Kavita. Kavita, we know, is the person who actually gives us the nutritional advice, which we all know is so important for everything. And we all know the gut changes everything. So how does modern nutrition address the unique challenges and dietary trends of the digital age?
So my take on modern nutrition is a little different from what I think everybody else. So I'm going to talk about my take. I feel that it's important for us to take today's nutrition and use it with the tarka of the yesteryears. Okay. So the time-tested rules, when they are merged with what science is proving today, is what I've realized turn up the best antidotes for today's all ails, not just social media, but everything that is ailing our society today. So everything that we do today, if we stick to our roots and then place it in today's scenario, I have seen that gives us the best of the results. when we're talking about social media, Dr. Gagan was so right. It happens in every field. I'm sure not just in orthopedics. I also have, everybody coming and telling me a particular diet that they wish to follow, and they want me to implement it for them. That's not how it works. You have to understand. The fact is that eventually you need to understand your body, but first you need to understand what will work for your body. So social media can be a huge problem. One, it leads to a lot of comparisons, which I have seen as the biggest killer today. When you compare your body with somebody else's, it's just not going to work, because the diet that's going to work for you is not going to work for her or for me, for that matter. So trying to follow a principle that has stood the test of time is our best bet, I feel, in today's times, to make sure that the lifestyle disorders that are really bothering us today can be checked. So I have simple 3 rules for it, which I tell everybody. One, first, most important, I tell them, try to fix it with foods, not fads. 1/3 of your problem will get solved like that. Second, take a U-turn and go towards your kitchens. Start cooking more and start eating more home-cooked food. The second, 2/3 of your problems will get solved like that. And third, the most, which sounds very philosophical and prolific, but the most important is stop looking for a Band-Aid. You need to change your habits. There is no shortcut to health. And modern medicine today agrees with that, and that is the only thing I think which is going to give us results for the processed food and the junk food and the social media-led era that we are living in today.
Yeah, that's so true. And having said that, I think Google imagines that one size fits all, which is not true. And of course, nutrition is the key to everything. We also know that nutrition affects our skin and how we look. So that brings me to Dr. Blossom Kochar, who is the expert in making us glow and look more beautiful. We are all beautiful, but she makes us look even more beautiful. So with increasing stress and anxiety in modern lifestyles, how do you think aromatherapy can be used to reduce stress? Because we know that stress is the biggest enemy of good skin.
Yeah, that's a wonderful question. Thank you. Now, aromatherapy and stress. In fact, aromatherapy really works on stress, and it works on beautiful skin, and it works on any stress-related ailments, okay? Because an aromatherapy, is absolutely natural. It comes from nature. It is the pure essential oils which we, come from the flowers, the leaves, the roots, the herbs, and the spices. And you would know that when you go for a walk in the garden, you definitely, however stressed you are, you go for a walk in the garden, you are going to feel good because you're smelling, all in nature, all the lovely aromas that come from there. Now, the oils that really work, and also when it comes to beauty and skin, I believe that beauty is very holistic. And a beautiful skin is very holistic. So when we look at a skin, we know, this person is more stressed out, or this person is more worried, and that type of thing. And I find that aromatherapy, because it works on the sense of smell, that's why it's called aromatherapy. So you have aroma, it's working on the sense of smell, and that, of course, is going to either, and it goes in, it helps to calm you down, it'll help to make you feel good, it'll make you, make you feel high. If you're very hyper, it'll make you feel good. If you're too calm and too lethargic, it's going to excite you. Aromatherapy is really wonderful, and it comes from nature. So now, when we are very stressed out, what I really feel and I recommend to everyone, there are a few oils that really work. And they are wonderful. One is lavender. I'm sure everybody has heard of lavender. So if you use lavender, you will find it goes into your mind, you breathe it in, you will find you straight away start calming down because it works. These go into the brine, then they go into the adrenal glands. The smell of it goes to the adrenal glands, helps it to calm, and you'll find that you'll calm down. And you've got to, and it also helps and makes you sleep. So it helps you to relax. The other oil that is excellent for this is neroli, that is orange blossom. You will find orange blossom also. You just use it in potpourri, you use it in your house, you can use it in a diffuser. In fact, I feel that instead of going for any of these chemical, kind of room fresheners and other things, use essential oils. And you can use them very simply. One is you can use it in a bath water, you can use it in a bucket, you can use it in a room, the room fresheners, you can use it in a room freshener, you can use it in many, in diffusers, you can use it in potpourri. So keep it around your home so that it's going to calm you. And since it can work on many different moods, let's use it, all the time, and use each of these oils for different moods. So it's a very, very natural way to make you feel calm and to make you feel good. And when you feel good, what happens? You look good and you'll start glowing. Okay?
Exactly. So we can see that aromatherapy is very, very powerful, and it can work in all aspects, be it stress, be it beauty, be it your mental wellness, everything. I have this little crow who's also wanting to be part of our session, it seems. So that's nature for all of us. And this setting is so beautiful and it's full of nature. We have all been talking about Google and the digital era. So we all know that it impacts our brain. So Dr. Manjari, I'd like to ask you, in today's time with the increased use of technology, phones, laptops, we're always doing something which is digital. If we're not on the laptop, we're watching TV. If we're not watching TV, we are browsing. So how do you think it is affecting our brain? And how do we reduce the negative impacts of technology? It has its positives, but it also comes with a lot of negatives.
The technology itself is not at fault. The problem is that we are, forgetting our limits, where the boundaries are. And if you look at technology, it has made so much possible today. The fact that we were able to gather here at a short notice or a relatively medium notice, the fact that Ekta ji was able to send out all the flyers to us, the fact that we network today is all through social media. But then you have to remember that we live in a 24-hour day. And the most important part of preventive neurology is sleep. Now, what social media and what these technologies have done to us is they have pushed or they have postponed the only sacrificable part of our day, that is sleep. So as a result of which, the nature's healing which used to happen in sleep. Now, sleep is the best spa. If you want to look young forever, sleep for 8 hours and sleep good. You will have wrinkles after 70. Okay? Believe me. You will be looking good all the time and you'll be smiling and not irritable. So sleep itself, there are a lot of activities going on in sleep neurologically. We have a different system in our brain which dilates in sleep, which is known as glymphatics. This glymphatic sucks out all the toxins which have got into the brain. And for most of us, it's a disease called Alzheimer's, which is clearly present in our country, and that's what we represent, that's what our society, the Alzheimer's Society, represents. These toxins and these bad proteins get sucked out by the glymphatics when you sleep for 8 hours. So if you're going to use technology and you're going to postpone your sleep, and instead of sleeping 8 hours or 7 hours, you're going to sleep 3 hours or 4 hours, which is what many adolescents and children are doing now, you are going to fast track your getting into diseases, including dementias, including strokes, including, neurodegenerative conditions, including seizures. So the whole brain circuitry gets haywire because of the inability to, obtain that best nature's power, which is sleep. So I think technology has impacted those people who have forgotten their limits. If we can switch off our WhatsApp 1 hour before sleeping, if we can put our mobiles onto an airplane mode, if we can just relax and have some aromatherapy and chat with our, relatives and friends, and then watch something very relaxed or read something very relaxed and get that sleep, it's going to hold a lot of wellness for us. Apart from diet, apart from routine exercise, apart from music, apart from dance, which Renuji does. So, these all things go on to wellness. Wellness is not one thing. It's, again, a holistic approach. Thank you.
Yeah, so we just talked about sleep, and I do know, Blossom, that there are some concoctions that help you sleep.
Yeah.
So would you help us with that?
Okay. Now, the best concoction for sleeping, I'm going to tell you, is lavender. Lavender essential oil is fantastic, and the only thing you have to do is use your, reflexes, rub it here in the center of your palms, on your solar plexus and under your feet. And also another thing I recommend is put it maybe on a tissue and just put it under your pillow when you sleep. So that is definitely going to help you to sleep. And the next thing definitely is that many people, they get up during the night and then they can't go back to sleep. So that is why we put it on the tissue and put it under the pillow. So what these oils have, they are full of chemicals, and they are natural, but we haven't extracted anything from it. So these help to relax the brain. They go into the adrenal system, adrenal glands, and help you to say, relax, relax, and that's what happens.
Great. I
So
think we're all
sleep
going to
is
get
the
good
one.
sleep from now on with all these tips. And as Manjari just said, that to look good, you have to sleep well. So I think we're all going to be focusing a lot on our sleep. I'm coming to you, Dr. Gagan Chadha. You have a lot of people coming to you with orthopedic health issues because of modern lifestyles and sedentary behavior. How do you suggest they cope with that?
Well, first thing you need to do is change your lifestyle. You have to inculcate a certain amount of exercise in your schedule. Now, be it your muscles or be it your bones. If you have strong muscles, you'll have strong bones. If you have weak muscles, you have weak bones. The only way to build muscle strength is exercise. There's no chemical, there's no medicine, there's nothing which can help other than exercise. Now, small remedies are there, which if people know, they wouldn't suffer from the common things like so many youngsters come to me with neck ache and shoulder ache. Now, this is because they're working on the computer for 8 hours at a go, sitting at one place and not doing anything. A simple remedy like pulling your shoulders back, extending your neck, rotating your shoulders, moving your neck every 20 minutes will alleviate this problem. At the same time, your body tells you when you need to rest. Now, if you're sitting in a chair, the minute you start feeling a little discomfort in your lower back, get up, walk for 10 minutes, then come and sit down again. If you're standing somewhere and you feel you have a little discomfort, sit down. Change your posture so that your muscles don't get fatigued. It's only when your muscles get fatigued do they go into spasm and then go into a painful contraction. So these are small things which everybody can do in their lifestyles because you can't change the job. The new thing which is coming up, working from home, is even worse. Because when you went to work, you moved out, you drove a car, you walked around, walked into office, walked around office, met a couple of people. But working from home actually means you're sitting on your table chair or your bed in a very wrong posture and working for 8 hours a day or 9 hours or whatever it is. So that is leading to muscle fatigue, muscle contraction, back aches, shoulder aches, cervical fasciitis, periscapular fasciitis, and all these kind of problems.
Yeah, I so agree with you. This work from home culture is something that really is not very good for wellness because you also don't get to meet your peers,
Very
which is a
true.
very, very important aspect of wellness. Yeah, that social communication, that 5-minute break that you take. I mean, I won't say the smoke break, but that also is something that people
Even if you
enjoy
don't
because they
smoke.
communicate, they gossip, they talk a little bit about their boss, which is really good for their health, I guess. So it's very fortunate that these days holistic wellness is making a comeback. A lot of people are wanting to go back to nature. They're wanting to, do things which are natural, take wellness breaks. What do you think is the way forward for modern wellness now?
Yeah, so holistic is, I think, probably the most thrown about word today. Everybody has a definition for it. Everybody has, how they like to perceive holistic. But, like if you I'll just give an example. When I did my chapter on holistic living in 2017 for my second book, I did a Google search then for holistic word, and some 65 lakh results came out. But that was in 2017. I just did a search again.
Today it'll probably
No, I
be
just did a search in the car on the way coming here, and there were 75 crore results. I mean, you could do it right now in Google. Just put holistic. And there were 75 crore results in Google on holistic.
Wow.
So that's how confusing it is for somebody who wants to understand what holistic is. And that's fine, because it's a very dynamic way of living. Everyone can have their own definition. But abroad, if I have to give my definition of holistic, I would probably just put it to one word, which is whole, WHOLE. I feel that is the definition of holistic. So first we need to get that right. So holistic living, according to me, is a way of living where you're aware of every single thing that you're putting on your body, inside your body, and around you. You're aware of everything. So that includes the food that you're eating, the drinks that you're drinking, the exercise that you're doing, the way you're handling the stress around you. So everything that you're doing is something which is in your control. So that, I feel, is the holistic way of living. Having said that, I feel that truly is the way forward. So holistic medicine, holistic nutrition looks at whatever it has in front of it in a very wholesome manner. So it looks at treatment from the body, mind, emotions, and spirit perspective. So it covers everything. It is not a replacement for modern science or modern nutrition. Definitely not, if that's what everyone is thinking. But it works in tandem with what modern science or modern nutrition is saying. It takes that and it takes all the other therapies possible, combines them together to make a system which can work for a particular issue. So going forward, answering your question, I feel that is the only solution we probably have. And which is why probably in the panel today we have somebody from every, sphere talking about the issues that you're facing today. Also, I feel that when we look at a problem from all perspectives, we get options to choose from. So holistic way of living is not a treatment. I just feel it's an attitudinal way of therapy. That is the future.
Yeah, we all know wellness is not just about a simple thing. It's about a way of life. It's something that you have to incorporate into your life day in and day out. And then only can you achieve the perfect balance that we're all looking for. Dr. Blossom Kochar, I'd like to ask you, you've spoken about aromatherapy, but what you're talking about is the pure form of aromatherapy.
Yeah.
But in this day and age, there are so many copies, there are so many synthetics available in the market. And if the word aromatherapy has become a good catchword, there are many copies, or should I say synthetic and not so good concoctions available as well. How do we differentiate?
Okay. Now that's a wonderful question again, because it is very, very important, So how do we differentiate? One is when you're getting an aromatherapy blend, a real aromatherapy blend with essential oils, which will have to be mixed with, of course, one is it can be pure, and the pure oil is always sold in dark colored bottles. You'll either get them in little brown bottles or dark blue bottles, maybe green, because the sun affects the oils, so we always put them in little dark bottles. That's the first. The next thing is when you go across and you see an oil, the best way to test it is, since we are consumers, if you're a consumer, is take the oil and if there is a blotter or blotting paper, you can put it onto that. But most shops don't have that. So I like to really take it and take a little bit of a cloth that you have asked them to give you, a cloth or a handkerchief or anything. Put the oil onto that. Now, if the oil is pure, you can just sprinkle it again with a little water and then dry it. There'll be no stain at all. But if it's not pure, you will find an oil stain over there. Okay? So these are the two very, very
That's
interesting
a great
ways
tip,
of
because
doing it.
however important, however useful aromatherapy is, the misuse of it is something we should all be very, very aware of. Dr. Gagan, I have a question for you, which is that in today's age, it's always about quick fix. So a lot of people, especially with a back problem, and even I've faced that, I've had people telling me I have a slip disc, and the first thing that the doctors told me is get a surgery done. I didn't, and I really thank myself for not doing it. But what is your advice?
No.
What do you think should be the way forward if you have a problem in your back?
There are 100 causes for backache. Now, you just can't say A is equal to B, B is equal to C. Now, even if you have a disc prolapse, there are clear-cut indications when you operate and when you don't operate. Like, the indications are very simple. If you have repeated attacks and they are not going away with conservative treatment, if you develop a neurological deficit, that means you develop a weakness in your lower limb or your upper limb or something, that's an indication. But just quick fix treatment, I don't think is the answer. So there are clear indications where you need to operate and when you don't need to operate. So it's very difficult to have a question, to answer to a question without a proper detail. But yes, you require surgery in certain places and it heals by conservative treatment in a lot of other places. So quick fix is basically people having medicine and they just want to get a mantra out of that medicine to become all right, which in orthopedics is a little difficult. Because most of the conditions, barring fractures and all those things, or degenerative arthritis, are basically muscle-based. So you have your muscles which support your spine, you have muscles which support your knee, you have muscles which support your shoulder, and you have to work on those muscles to make them strong. And if they are strong, they support the organ well, or your joint well, you'll have no pain. So that the shortcut everybody is looking for is basically medicine and some kind of this, and they don't have to exercise. That's what it is.
So I'm going to put one question to all of you, which is that what is your opinion that what exactly would you say is wellness means to you? So I'll start with you, Dr. Gagan. What do you think is one sentence for wellness?
Well, actually, that's a a lot of gurus have tried to answer that question and they've been there for
I'm
years.
also trying to find the answer.
And
So
a lot of sages have been talking the same thing, but they all come to the same conclusion. You should be physically fit, mentally fit, and spiritually fit. Now, what is that fitness and what level of fitness you achieve is a different thing, and how you achieve that is again a very different thing. So you have so many things. Well, it's written in the right, starting from the Vedas down to everybody. So everybody has to choose his way forward.
So Manjari, what is your opinion on what exactly is wellness to you?
So in medical languages, as he said, that it's a state of complete physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual equivalence or equipoise. I would say it's a life in moderation. being physically fit is not sine qua non with being healthy. We are seeing it day in, day out. Young people going to gyms, something happens to them. So being physically fit is not the only thing. Mentally, how calm are you? How composed are you? How aware are you? And how non-turbulent you are? I think a lot of that makes a lot of difference because that influences your choices. Emotionally, of course, the ability to not react and rather respond is very, very important. And if we are non-reactive and more responsive, things get better for us. And then spiritually, of course, doesn't mean you go and, just sit in a temple or sit in a church or whatever. Spiritual would basically mean how positive you are and comfortable you are in your inner environment, as well as when you're, comfortable in your inner environment, you would naturally see that your external environment also becomes very comfortable, whichever religion or whichever path you follow.
That's great advice. So, what about you, Kavita? What do you think is wellness?
So, wellness for me, we can measure it in many parameters. Unfortunately, most of us measure it in just one parameter, which I see every single day, and I'm sure a lot of people here would be guilty of that as well, which is weight. Most of us look at just weight as a parameter of how well we are. So I agree, that's the first parameter, stable weight. Stable weight as near as optimum as possible. But that's not the only parameter, honestly. And that coming from a dietitian who specializes in weight loss is a big deal, trust me. There are so many other parameters we need to look at. One, the next one I want to talk about is how strong your immunity is. And I think COVID has taught all of us that lesson that parameter needs to be kept right on top. How often you fall sick is a huge parameter of wellness. Gut health, which now most of us are waking up to, was ignored for many, many decades, in spite of the fact that we live in a country where Ayurveda has been crying hoarse about it. So gut health is a huge parameter of how well you are. How well you're sleeping, that is such a huge thing which ma'am talked about. If you're not sleeping well, you are just not well, even if you are at your perfect weight. I'll be very frank with you. Emotionally, whether you're stable, it's difficult. This is it's the toughest thing to do today. But at least if you have a stable mood, I feel that's a huge parameter. Dental health, Ekta will love this, is a huge, huge parameter. And most of us ignore that. So all these parameters, and the most important one, if I have to put it in one line, if you sleep well, of course, but you wake up with a spring in your feet, I think you're well. So these are the parameters I would look at.
Dr. Blossom.
That's interesting. I love it. Everyone have said everything. So for me, of course, I think the most important thing is to look inside. Look inside yourself. Take the time, especially either in the morning, to look inside and to see how you're feeling. Because how you feel is really how you're going to be. That is very important. So it is the body, mind, soul, and spirit, which is very important. So I believe that meditation is one of the most important things. And then, of course, comes exercise. Not just cardiovascular, but strength exercise. And as we get older, I think the doctor will definitely agree with me that we have to really do some strength exercises because our muscles are very important. We may have a whole lot of stuff that we want to do, but if you're not strong enough, your body is not strong enough, you have a back problem or you have any problem, you can't. So you have to strengthen your muscles. And then, of course, once that is there, nutrition again, very important. I think we've got everybody on this panel that is really going to tell us what wellness is all about. And I believe the most important is to be happy, to live in the now, to live in the moment, and to see that, and to be happy. You'll find when you are happy, everything is going to turn out really well. And now another question people ask me, how can I just be happy? Yes, there are times when you can't, but if you can just go back into yourself and try, okay, what was this, what is that, and change your mood. Changing the mood of yourself, that is very important. So when you're not happy, you're not feeling good, just go back into yourself and change your mood. You will find you can, like I say, get up and walk around, and by the time you come back, you're okay. So this is, I think, an important thing. Be happy and just live a moment at a time.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, keep smiling. Do we have time for 2-3 questions? I think Dr. Ekta will be able to tell me that. Do we have time to take some questions? Yeah? No? Okay. I think I have overshot my time. So if you all have questions for these lovely panelists, I guess you can ask them offline. She's coming to actually take the mic away from me. I've been talking too much.
Thank you so much, Parineeta, for this lovely session. Thank you, Dr. Manjuri Tripathi. It is an honor to have you here. The professor doctor doesn't have really time at all, but she's managed some time for us. Thank you, my dear husband, Dr. Gagan Chadha, and Kavita, and Dr. Blossom Kochar. Thank you very much.